So 99.9% of NBA fans will never enter one of our 29 team arenas. My son, Evan, is 6 years old, and he cannot make a basket. He tries really hard. His strength just isn't there. But through the use of technology, both are possible today.
Good job.
My name is Scott Stanchak. I'm the Vice President of Emerging Technology at the National Basketball Association. I also teach e-commerce and digital marketing within the graduate program at NYU. My role at the NBA is focused on building out consumer-facing products in innovative new spaces. We're constantly thinking 6 months, 12 months, and further down the road of how we're going to continue to innovate, where fans and meet fans where they actually are. My team has our motto as we work in these spaces such as artificial intelligence, augmented reality, virtual reality, chatbots, voice, is to experiment boldly with unproven digital technology to shape the fan experience for the future. That said, predicting the future is an extremely difficult thing to do, which is why we need to shrink that time frame down to 6 months, 12 months, and that span. And I think this image perfectly captures why that is the case. So this image was done in 1900, 3 years before the Wright brothers ever took flight. And it depicts what people in the year 1900 thought going to the opera was going to be like in the year 2000. Now, we aren't going to the opera in flying cars, but what they failed to consider at the time was the fact that people's clothing choices would have also evolved over 100 years. The NBA is often thought of as the most innovative sports league in sports today. In fact, recently we were named Fast Company's most innovative sports league and top 10 overall, which is exciting because on top of that, that was ahead of Google and SpaceX. A lot of that comes from our forward-thinking leadership, but it also has to do with the fact that our fans are extremely tech-savvy. They're the first ones to go out and buy new gadgets, which means that we have to meet them where they're looking to interact with not just the NBA brand, but also to watch the game in the future. The NBA has never been afraid to experiment with technology, and I think that's why it goes back to being important that it's boldly experiment. We can't be afraid as these spaces evolve because we might come to another collision point of what technologies consumers are using, as we're seeing today. And this is just a list. I'm not going to rattle off the full list of exactly what technologies the NBA has been a first mover in. It is our brag list, but you see everything from virtual reality to 3D to web and 4K, and you can bet that's going to continue to evolve. The vast majority of our fans will never set foot in one of our actual team arenas. And it's really important to note that because even for the fans that can get to one of our arenas, there's limited space for them to sit, let alone sit courtside. But through the use of virtual reality technology, we're able to bring them to the court, feet on the hardwood, to watch NBA basketball games. Before I go into exactly a little bit more about virtual reality, and I'm not going to spew off all these stats because I think Chris did a really good job of highlighting some of these, but when we talked about the NBA as a global brand and 99.9% of fans never getting to a game, this shows why. It's not just our fans, it's our players that are global. And so we need to continually evolve for them. From a virtual reality standpoint, the league has been one of the first movers in this space. We launched a League Pass Game of the Week with NextVR back in 2016, and we've also partnered to create original content with partners such as Google and Jaunt and Intel VR, NextVR, and Oculus, including House of Highlights, an original content show where we take people and do interviews with legends from the NBA. In addition to that, we do experiences around All-Star and Finals, our tentpole events. And you can bet that we'll continue to evolve in this space because of the fact that you cannot be in the arena, and we'll try to bring you there. I want to touch on augmented reality and pivot to this space because I think augmented reality and virtual reality sometimes becomes a little confusing for people. What are the difference? So virtual reality fully immerses you in a world, 360 video basically around you. You can't see anything else. augmented reality places digital content on top of your real world. And I think this chart shows exactly why we have to pay attention to this space. Virtual reality today, you go out and you have to buy a new headset. So the barrier to entry and adoption for virtual reality is in the hands of how many people are going to go buy a $200 headset today. But augmented reality, the adoption rate is extremely fast. And part of that has to do with the fact that most of the phones that you have in your pocket today have augmented reality technology on them. And when you look at this chart here, you see the release of, in 2017, with Apple's AR Kit technology, 2018 with Google's AR Core technology on phones. What you're going to see is over the next couple years, as we hit 2020, as people cycle out of their devices and get new devices in their hands, the peak where this collision point of augmented reality technology and smartphones comes together is going to be that time period. And that's why we need to pay attention to it. The NBA created their first augmented reality experience back in September 2017 to align with Apple's AR Kit technology. We looked at this a number of different ways as to what that first experience that we were going to build out was. And what I looked at were 4 different considerations. I looked at entertainment versus utility, and I looked at in-home versus out-of-home. And these were the audiences that we were going to go after. And what I settled on was the fact that in-home and entertainment probably gave us the biggest reach possible. And because this technology is so new, we wanted to experiment with it, get data, get learnings, see how it's going to evolve, and so we can quickly pivot into other areas as it does. What you see behind me is the NBA AR app. The first experience that we built into it is a Pop-A-Shot game. That was the one that you saw my son playing in the beginning, and he was actually one of my QA testers on that. And in the background of the hoop, you see the Golden Gate Bridge. And so when I was in San Francisco out for opening night of the Golden State Warriors game, I headed down to the bridge and I recorded this video, and it shows there's an authentic court. The ball is as authentic as you can get it. The hoop is as authentic as possible. And to bring that experience to fans to play anytime, anywhere. The NBA continues to experiment the NBA continues to, I like the soundtrack behind me, in augmented reality experiences, especially in fun, unique, light ways. I think it's important to understand augmented reality today, it's going to get to that space where content, data, statistics are going to be really impactful to everything. But where we're at right now, we're trying these unique, fun ways. 2 of the things that we did, one was heading into the season, is you see the Snapchat foam finger up there that you saw dancing. And that also was recorded on opening night ahead of the Rockets Golden State Warriors game in Golden State, and you could see Steph Curry warming up there on the court. And these foam fingers, if you remember last year, Snapchat came out with the dancing hot dog. So we worked with Snapchat as the first brand, essentially, to create branded 3D animated AR foam fingers. It didn't make sense to do NBA branded hot dogs, and so we went with the foam fingers. And the foam fingers came in 3 different emotions. It came in happy, it came in nervous, and it came in sad. And so fans could swipe through their emotions as they were watching the game. These also appeared actually at the arenas for fans they were geofenced around the arenas for fans to be able to take them, use those different emotions, use the fingers, and share them out to friends. The second experience we did, and this is probably most recently, was around Facebook AR. And what I want to say is I'm really proud of the work that my team has done in the AR space, especially over the last 10 months, because we went from really no AR experience to something on iOS, to something on Snapchat, to something on Facebook, 2 of the biggest platforms, 1 of the biggest operating systems, and we're establishing that presence. And what we worked with Facebook on for the All-Star game is this experience where you could put yourself on the Jumbotron at the Staples Center, or at least make it appear that way. But the truth is, this is where we're heading. Augmented reality, as I talked about today, is on your handheld device, your smartphone. But we're getting to a place where I think we're going to see this next collision of technology, just as we saw with the smartphone, where glasses have the ability, I'm not saying they will, but they have the ability to replace some of the technologies that we're actually using today. And Commissioner Adam Silver recently announced that the NBA is partnering with Magic Leap to create an experience where fans can watch the NBA game through Magic Leap technology. Imagine being able to put 6 different games on at once on your wall, no television there, as you watch instant replay of the play taking place on your tabletop in 3D. That could be the future. We hear rumors that other technology and other companies continue to work on this space. I'm not, again, saying that this is where will ultimately replace the smartphone, but I think you'll start to see that this has the ability to do calls. It has the ability to do a range of technologies that you're using other devices today. The other technology that I want to talk to you about that the team's been paying a lot of attention to is the voice space. And this is one, as I talk to you about the collision of some technologies that could get integrated into glasses, is voice. So when you look at the numbers of people who are consuming content on voice devices, you see that Amazon owns the lion's share of it. A majority of that has to do with the fact that they have a low-cost device that allowed them to penetrate the market, especially the millennial market that's there as the predominant users. And when we also look at how many times people are using voice devices today, you see that it's multiple times a day. And when I look at that and I say, okay, this is a predominant millennial audience and people are using it multiple times a day, it means it's pretty important to pay attention to. The NBA has been a leader in the voice space today, and most of these products we created heading into this season. The Amazon Alexa voting skill was released ahead of the All-Star game. We're the first sports league to allow voting on the voice platform. And this came out of an experience that we were trying to create and a project to help us better understand fans saying player names into their voice products. You would not believe how many ways a fan could say Giannis's name. And so we had to improve that if we wanted to have a better experience. And the person that helped us create it, they looked back and they said, hey, I think I got it to a good place. What perfect place to try it out is with All-Star voting. And we did that this season. The other experiences we ended up creating were around the Amazon Alexa NBA skill, so for you to be able to get scores, schedule, statistical information. We're going to have international skills released very soon as well. We also released skills for all 30 NBA teams, something I'm really proud of. We're the first sports league to get all our teams on the voice platform. And I think that's important because fans want to feel, again, we want to reach fans where they are. The millennial audience is using Amazon, they're using Google, they're engaging with those type of technologies. We want to make sure that the teams, just like the league, have that presence there. And the final one that we created, and you can bet that this isn't going to be the final one as a whole, is Google Assistant Trivia. We ended up creating a trivia product that is in there today in Google Assistant. You can use it either in the app product, where you can type, or you can use it in the voice product, the Google Home product. And the way we looked at this was, look, when we created the product for Amazon, they didn't have scores and schedules and statistical information, but Google already has that. And so for the NBA to create a product there, it would have made sense because Google already has that information. So what was that differentiator for the audience? And the one we settled on was a trivia product where you can go in, you can get 5 daily questions, you can actually get up to 10, and you can build a streak and then brag to your friends how much of your NBA knowledge you have. I remember demoing that. We demoed it ahead of opening day because opening day was in Golden State for the tech media, and not one person got all 5 right, which is interesting for the basketball media. I want to leave you with this. Technology is going to continue to have a profound impact on my life and all of our lives. And a couple weeks ago, I went upstairs to check on my kids, and my son's door was shut. I heard a lot of giggling behind the door, and I thought they were probably having a Lego party or something. And when I opened it, they were both standing around the Amazon Alexa, and I figured out that they learned how to enable one of Alexa's latest skills, which they did so by saying, Alexa, call mom. The thing is, mom, the Alexa is connected to my phone, and so mom was not who they thought they were talking to, but instead grandma. Technology, as I said, is going to have a profound impact on the way that we live our lives. Former US President Teddy Roosevelt once said that the credit actually belongs to the man in the arena. And what he means by that is you can't succeed without trying. There's failure if you try. There's failure if you don't try. So why not try? You can bet that the NBA is going to continue to try and evolve and continue to build product experiences in these new technological spaces that have a profound impact on the way fans interact with our brand and consume the game. I appreciate the time this afternoon. Have a great rest of the conference. Thank you.